to do. I have a pot of water that I have already brought to a boil because I want to put some broccoli in there. I'm going to salt the water to season the broccoli, and I have just some broccoli florets. If you don't have fresh broccoli, you can use frozen. It's fine. Just make sure you steam it as the package says. We're going to just let that go for about 5 minutes. Then I have a large non-stick skillet that I'm going to preheat over medium-high heat. I'm just going to drop probably a couple of tablespoons of oil. I'm using olive, but you could use canola or vegetable, whatever you have on hand. And we're going to cook some bacon first, and then we're going to add some chicken. Now, bacon, to me, makes everything taste better. I have about 6 slices of bacon that I have just cut up into bite-sized pieces. I like to cut my bacon up before I start cooking it. I find it a little bit easier to work with, and we're just going to let that go. And we're actually going to use the bacon drippings in part of our sauce. You could drain them if you wanted to, but I mean, it's flavor. I have here just some diced boneless, skinless chicken breasts. This is one of those recipes. If you wanted to use chicken thighs, you could. You could use, as I'm doing, boneless, skinless breasts. You could actually do this recipe and substitute the chicken with boneless, skinless pork if you wanted to, pork tenderloin or boneless pork chops, whatever you have on hand. It would even be good with beef. I mean, really, it would be. But the price of beef has just gotten astronomical, so we're working with chicken because it still is, at least where I live, reasonably priced. And it's easy, and it's one of those things that, for me is a pantry staple in my freezer. I keep a supply of boneless, skinless chicken breasts because I just find them so simple to use. I'm going to put some pepper on mine. I'm not going to put any salt because I'm using some ingredients that do have some salt in it, but you know me and pepper. I love pepper. And freshly ground. This is freshly ground pepper. This is not the canned stuff. I have a lot of pepper mills. If you are maybe new to watching the program, I collect pepper mills, and I just love them. I don't know why I love pepper mills so much. I just do. So let's get that turned up just a little bit. I collect them. But what I do, if I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking, is I will take my peppercorns and put them in a grinder. There, here it is. Let me just show you. I keep one of these little tiny coffee grinders that you can buy anywhere, any store, Walmart, Target, any of those places sell these. And I just use this. It's actually a coffee grinder, but I use it for spices, and in particular, peppercorns. And I just put some in there and I pulse it to get it to the desired consistency. I like my pepper to have a little bit of texture to it. I don't like it so incredibly finely ground. So I do it a little bit more on the coarse side. We're going to cook some bacon. My broccoli is steaming away. Let me get that spread out just a little bit. I know I do have quite a few new viewers. Welcome to Everydaymana. We are going to make a sauce that's going to eventually go on the chicken. In this bowl, I have just apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons. Depends on how tangy you like your food. I like tangy, so I've got about 3 tablespoons. But if you don't like quite as much, maybe start with 1 or 2. Also in there is some just apple butter. Going to mix those together, and I'm going to add some I had pumpkin pie spice. I didn't have any apple pie spice, so I'm using pumpkin pie spice. They're basically the same. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and this is going to be our glaze for our chicken. Just kind of stir that up and set it aside. I'm using 2 boneless, skinless breasts, but, you know, you could use as much, you know, morph this into however many servings you have. Count on 1 breast per person. We're going to get our chicken or our bacon stirred. In my world, everything tastes better with bacon. I love it, absolutely. It probably is my favorite ingredient to work with. It flavors everything. You could use turkey bacon if you wanted to. Up to you. But I do find it easier to cut it before you cook it. I just think it's a little easier to work with than cooking it and then trying to crumble it. I think it crumbles up too much when you do that. I'm just getting a couple of little paper towels ready because when that cooks, I'm going to take it out of the pan and put it on there. Grab a slotted spoon here for that. I get asked all the time, what kind of pan this is, in particular, my nonstick. This is just the Tefal nonstick skillet, 12-inch skillet that you can find anywhere. I love this thing. It's inexpensive, so when it, you know, is ready to go, you don't feel so bad about, you know, tossing it and getting a new one. When your nonstick surface starts getting scratched or peeling or flaking off, that's when you replace it. But I love this skillet. I've tried numerous brands and, you know, some a little more high-end, some, you know, a little less than this one. And this is by far my favorite. This runs about $15 to $20 depending on where you are. But it's so versatile and it cooks everything so well. I love this skillet. It really does matter. If you want to step up your cooking game, it really does matter that you get as best a quality of cookware that you can afford. It doesn't have to be, you know, $100 pan. If you can afford that, great. I'll tell you what, my favorite brand of cookware, while that's cooking, is All-Clad. Now, All-Clad can be pricey, but if you live in an area that has stores like TJ Maxx or Marshall's, Home Goods, those kinds of stores, you can find some really good prices on individual pieces of All-Clad. And anytime you see me using an All-Clad pot, it has come from there. And you can get what would be in, you know, Williams-Sonoma or somewhere like that, a $200 pan for $39. So just keep your eye out for that. But the Tefal can be found anywhere. Tramontina, by the way, is another brand that is very good, and you know, you can find it lots of different places. It's basically the same as the All-Clad, only less expensive. All right, I'm gonna just take this bacon out. I'm gonna take a quick break, get my chicken ready to go in, and when I come back, I'm gonna show you how we fry up the chicken, get our glaze in there, drain our broccoli, and get started on our bread dish. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now I just drained the broccoli. That's all I've done, and I got the bacon out. I got rid of a little bit of the excess fat because we didn't need quite as much as that bacon and oil was. Now I'm going to put my chicken in my skillet. I'm going to spread it out, because if you don't spread it out, if you overcrowd your pan, no matter what you're cooking with meat, If you overcrowd it, it's going to steam and not get that brown coating, which is what you want. That's flavor. If I was cooking any more than 2 chicken breasts, I would do this in batches. But see, that's just perfect, because that way there's some room around each piece of meat. Now, while that's cooking, let's get our sauce for our broccoli started. I have just here a small saucepan. Come on. Well, there we go. Now it decided to come on. Oh, forget it. Let's go to this one. This is being particular. Let's put this on there. I'm going to melt some butter, a couple of tablespoons of butter in that pan. To that, I'm going to add some red pepper flakes and lemon pepper seasoning. If you've watched this program at all, you know I like spicy. So I added probably a good half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. But if you don't like it as spicy as I do, I would tone that down a little bit. Let me get a little spoon here. And I just want to melt that butter. And the reason I've got the spices in there is they will toast and they will bloom in their flavor as they heat up and the butter melts. Most spices are oil soluble, which means they need oil to bring out the flavors. I have here 1 lemon. This particular lemon does happen to be a Meyer lemon because I saw them in my store and I love them. When you can find them, they really are good. They're very thin-skinned. I mean, they taste a little bit sweeter than a lemon, but regular lemon will work too. But I'm going to zest the outside because that has a lot of flavor. So I've just taken off the yellow part. I'm not taking off the white pithy part, just the yellow. And you can smell it instantly. The lemon just comes out. It's so good. Okay. Then I like to roll my lemon and cut it in half and get it ready to juice. See the Meyer lemon, how much thinner this skin is, the outer part. Oh, smells so good. I love Meyer lemon. There's my zest. Gonna add that to my butter mixture. We're gonna get that going. Let's check our chicken. Turn up that heat just a little bit. Okay. Let's turn our chicken pieces. Leave it alone when you first put it in the skillet. Now, you see how we're getting that browning on there? That's what you want. And because I did not overcrowd the pan, my pieces are taking on that extra little bit of flavor that's going to be delicious. So, so good. Lemon would also be good added to this. Lemon, I think, brightens anything. It just brightens up any dish. Okay. Now, we're slowly melting the butter and those spices together. Now, my broccoli, I don't like my broccoli really mushy. I like it to have a little bit of firmness to it. You steam yours to your likeness. We're going to add our lemon juice. I have a little juicer here. Always remember, a lot of people get confused with these things. Cut your lemon and put your cut side down. I mean, if you look at this, you think it would fit like that, but do it the opposite. Put it cut side down and just squeeze that fresh juice into that delicious sauce that we are making for our broccoli. Yum. So delicious. And you don't get any seeds. Let me get this going. It's about done. I just want to melt that butter is all I'm doing. Check our chicken. Needs a minute more. When that butter's melted, we just will put that on top of our broccoli. Now, this side dish could not be simpler. It really could not be. You will need a loaf of, I'm using Italian bread. You could use French bread. You could use anything you wanted. My butter's melted. Let's skip back over here real quick. I'm just going to pour this butter on top of my broccoli and stir it all together. Oh, it smells so good. That's done. Let's just put the lid back on. The stove eye is off. Back over here to our bread. I bought an Italian loaf, but you buy what you like. Let me take that off of there for just a second here. I'm going to take a serrated knife and I'm going to cut this in half horizontally. Then I have just some chive and onion flavored cream cheese. Use whatever flavor you like. There's so many different flavors of cream cheese. And I'm going to slather this all over my bread. Oh, look at that, how good that looks. Yum, yum. The garden vegetable flavored cream cheese is delicious on this. Use what you like. If you wanted to make your own flavors of cream cheese, just soften a package of cream cheese and add what you want to it. I'll tell you what's also good for breakfast is this kind of bread with the blueberry or strawberry flavored cream cheese. Delicious. Yum, yum, yum. Put as much or as little as you like. If you wanted to add some Parmesan cheese on top of this, go for it. I'm out of Parmesan, or I would be. And I'm going to close this, and I'm going to cover it with some foil. And I'm going to pop it in a 375-degree oven. And I made that just a tiny bit too short. I'm going to pop it in the, a 450-degree oven, not 350, for about 10 minutes or so, just to warm the bread through and kind of soften and melt that cream cheese just a little bit, and it will be delicious. I'm going to turn our chicken, clean up my mess. When I come back, we'll finish up the chicken and we'll serve up all this delicious food. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now for just a quick, easy dessert, I'm going to show you how to use things that you probably already have in your pantry. I have just some of the little cups of diced peaches. I'm using peaches because that's what I have. because that's what I like. I drained off just a little bit of the juice, and I put one of the little cups in each one, but you know, you use what you have. Then I have some graham crackers. I've got 4. I'm just going to take my rolling pin. We're just going to make a little crisp. Just going to beat my graham crackers up to where they're crumbs. And I'm going to put just a little bit of cracker crumbs on each one. I love peaches. They're one of my favorite fruits. And in the summer when they are fresh off the tree, right, drip down your chin, gotta eat them over the sink. It doesn't get any better than that to me. Love them. But if you don't like peaches, you could do this with really any kind of fruit that your heart desires. Just pour some of those over top. Then take just a pat of butter, just a little bit, not too much. Cut it into a couple of pieces and put it over top. This just will melt and help the graham crackers to brown just a little bit. We're just going to pop them in the oven for, 10-15 minutes till they, the peach is warm and the butter melts and it gets just a little golden. This is just a last minute, oh, I need to serve dessert to somebody. What do I have? This is what kind of stuff you do. So we're just going to pop this in the oven. Our bread is done, so we can take our bread out. Just put that in the oven for 10 minutes, maybe, until that melts and is delicious. Just put this on there and put this down here. And let's finish up our chicken. Now our chicken has browned and is looking, look how good and just delicious that looks. But remember, we made this glaze, so we're going to pour the glaze into the skillet. Get all that wonderfulness out of there. And remember the bacon. I'm going to turn it down to low, because really all I want to do is heat that sauce through, and that just takes a minute. It really doesn't take very long at all. Oh, that smells so good. And remember the bacon that we cooked? We're going to put some of it in there, but we're going to save a little bit to sprinkle on top. And there you go. There is a chicken recipe guaranteed to delight your family. Now, let's check our bread. Yum. Oh, it's so warm and soft and delicious. And we will take our serrated knife and just cut it into serving pieces. And remember that wonderful cream cheese inside. So good. This is a meal that's easy, quick, looks extremely elegant. You could serve it to guests. You could serve it any day of the week. Your kids are going to love it. The apple butter and bacon and chicken, oh, delicious. Whew. If you did not have apple butter, you could make that with any kind of fruit preserve, like a blueberry preserve or a fig jam or any blackberry, any kind of jam, peach butter, whatever it is that you have. Use what you have in your pantry. A lot of people have apple butter. So that's why I developed the recipe, because that's a kind of a staple in most people's homes. But that is one delicious looking chicken. So let's get this served up. Oh, so good. So, so good. Remember the bacon. I mean, don't forget that bacon on top. Clean up my plate. Remember our delicious broccoli that we made? Let's get some of that out. Smells good. I love broccoli. I mean, it's just really a staple side dish in my home. We eat it all the time. And then our wonderful bread that we made. You could top that with, again, some Parmesan cheese if you wanted to. Top it with anything that you have. And our wonderful little dessert that is coming. All righty, now here is our completed meal. Here's your delicious little peach crisp. You could top that with some vanilla ice cream. Oh, so, so good. Whipped cream, whatever you wanted. It's still very hot. You could eat that warm, you could eat that cold, you could eat that straight out of the fridge, however you like it. Just an easy, quick little peach crisp. You could also add some cinnamon to those peaches if you wanted to. Would take it up even another notch. But here's our delicious apple glazed chicken. If you wanted to, for an additional side dish, you could slice some apples, saute them in some butter, and then toss them in with your apple glaze. Takes it over the edge. Any kind of apple that you like, any kind of apple that cooks well. A Granny Smith, a Honey Crisp. I wouldn't do Red Delicious because they just tend to fall to mush when you saute them. But, you know, a Granny Smith or a Honey Crisp, Gala, anything like that that's a firmer apple,